whip of play. And then it was Douglas with the alley-oop to Stephen Thompson, who finished with 19 points as the Orangemen went on to the victory by a final score of 87-80. So here's a look at the first two games. Classics, Douglas with the NCAA record, 22 assists in the first meeting, and in the second, Coleman doing a fine job, although Conlon had 29 and 11 for Providence. I asked Jim Boeheim if it's tough to beat the team for the third time.
I don't subscribe to that theory, but in this case, when you've had two such close games, I think the team that lost really doesn't feel that they're worse than you are. You know, I think Providence feels they're just as good as we are based on the two games we've had. So I think it's going to be very difficult this time to beat them. If you've beaten a team twice by 10 or 12 points, then I don't think there's any reason not to beat them again. But when you've played two games like we've had, it's been so close, I think Providence feels they've got a good chance to beat us, and so therefore it's a pretty even game.
Have both games been close because both teams thrive on fast tempo?
Well, I think they've been high scoring because both teams like to play fast tempo, but I think they've been close because Providence is pretty good, and I think there's just not that much difference between Providence and Syracuse. And I think Providence is probably a much better team than their record would indicate. They really have not caught too many breaks, and they've had 8 close games in the league, and that just got away from them, or for one reason or another at the end of the game. And I really believe they're really a 21 or 22 win team rather than an 18 win team in terms of what they've accomplished.
Is Sherman Douglas the key to this game, or is he just the key to every game?
Well, for us, he's the key to every game because we depend on him more than probably more than any team depends on their point guard, the way we play. And so we really rely on him, but for 3 years he's been there every game for us, and that's why we probably have come to rely upon him so much.
Well, Jim Boeheim has lived with Sherman and died with Sherman, but for the most part, over the past 4 years, he's lived with him.
Well, I've already delivered my soliloquy on guard play in the tournament. And Sherman Douglas is a senior, and when your point guard is a senior, all the numbers are there, you know, career score, career assists, all of that. But in this particular game against a dangerous team, an up-tempo team, a team that's going to pressure, he is crucial. He's got to do more than throw a few alley-oops. Control the ball and make sure it gets to the right people, because Providence has that knack, that frenzy of making you forget what you came out there to do.
Well, one of the real surprises of the Big East this year was Seton Hall, as we mentioned earlier. Another surprise was the Providence College Friars. They came back from a difficult campaign a year ago, and under Coach Rick Barnes, they improved from 11 wins to 18 wins. They started the season off impressively, winning their first 13 ball games. And yesterday, I had a chance to talk to Rick Barnes, the head coach of Providence. I asked him, are you quick to give the credit elsewhere, or do you take the credit yourself?
Well, I think the credit has to go to the players, because I can remember back when I first got to Providence and their attitude and the way they went through the spring and summer months working to get better as individual players. They believed that they could win in this league and be competitive, and they really felt that if they could focus on each game and play that game with everything that they had and play as a group, that they could be in every basketball game and win games. And that's what they've done this year, and the credit really goes to them simply because they've believed from day one that they could win.
Murdoch. Does Murdoch have to have a big game against Syracuse for you to be there?
No, I think that we've got to have balanced attack from a lot of people. I think when you're in the Big East tournament, or as you get down to March here when every game's a tournament game, I think you've got to have it from a lot of people. And so we basically have been that team this year. When we've played our best basketball, it's been when we've had great balance.
Rick, the fact that the first two games were played so close and you lost, do you think that's a positive thing for you going into this third meeting?
I think what our players understand is that they can play with Syracuse. And we went up there, had one of those great games that spectators love to watch, where it's up and down the court. Then we came back to our place, more of a tempo-type game. And I think our players came out of both games knowing that if we can just do a couple more things a little bit better, that we can beat Syracuse.
Which type of tempo is better for Providence College?
I think somewhere in between. We play much better basketball when we're getting up and down the court with it. But on the other hand, I think Syracuse is a great open court team, and when they go up and down like that, they're more explosive than any team that we've played all year.
What a job Coach Rick Barnes has done at Providence College. He's brought back the enthusiasm, the winning spirit. This team has been down the line very often. They haven't won all the games down the stretch, but they do have 18 wins to talk about.
I guess at 34 you call him precocious, but he has a very unassuming way about him, and he's gotten this team to play hard. He's been an assistant coach at Ohio State, at Davidson. He's been around. In fact, the team he left is in the NCAA tournament this year as well. And it's a credit to him, but he had the nucleus. He got him to play. He stripped back the negatives without casting any disparaging glances on the past. It was all positive. He never even looked at tape from the year before. He said, we're starting from day one. Show me. And he has.
Well, there's a lot more action coming up at the Garden tonight. 2 other quarterfinal games. And for a preview, let's go to Mike Gorman and Ron Perry.
Okay, Bruce, thank you very much. And Mike Gorman, along with former Holy Cross All-American Ron Perry. We'll have Georgetown and Boston College coming up later on, and we will see the Big East Player of the Year in Charles Smith. And as much as we hear, Ron, about Alonzo Mourning, John Thompson will tell you this is Charles Smith's team.
He really is. He's the key guy. He's come through in the clutch. He wasn't there late in the game against Syracuse. Of course, a tough loss on the road for Georgetown, and it was kind of like who's going to take the leadership role, and Charles Smith has always been there.
And on the other side, Boston College got here late, one could say, but they got here in style last night. Dana Barrows setting a new record for the tournament with 38 points. And Ron, you and I have both had a chance to see BC over the last couple of weeks, and fans would be deceived if they went off that record. This has become a good basketball team.
They've really played people tough late in the year. They've been in all these games very close. We had them in the Villanova game where Dana got hot and they beat Villanova at the Conti Forum and then beat a very strong Syracuse team at home. They've played Georgetown close late in the year. So it's a team, I think, that's starting to believe in themselves late, peaking at the right time. And Dana Barrows, he's averaging 30 points a game, better than 30 over the last 4 games. And we know we've seen him get very streaky hot.
Indeed, fully capable of lighting this place up for 38 or better in that game tonight. The second game coming up tonight is really a rivalry that has developed over the past couple of years in the Big East, that being the Villanova Wildcats against Pittsburgh. But we should say right off the top, Villanova is coming in here tonight not a healthy basketball team.
Well, that's right. Kenny Wilson has the stress fracture in the right foot. He has started lately, but he's hurting, has not practiced all week. Doug West has had a sore back, which he injured against BC, but did play well in the season's finale against St. John's. And the backup point guard, Chris Walker, broke his right foot. So David Miller will be pressed into action. The freshman point guard played very well against St. John's, and Villanova has to control tempo, so the point guard will be critical.
And quickly, Ron, Pittsburgh an up and down team, but when they're up, they're very good.
They can be very tough, and Sean Miller can get it going. Jason Matthews from the perimeter, but the key guy all year long has been Brian Shorter. Look for him to light it up inside. He has to be contained.
Okay, that's the setup for tonight's game. Syracuse and Providence, though, are coming up here as the quarterfinals of the Big East tournament continue from Madison Square Garden.
With a record of 25-6. Derek Coleman of the Syracuse Orangemen will play. Derek Coleman had injured his back against Georgetown last Sunday. He is okay. Practiced with the team yesterday. Now on to other matters. Sherman Douglas. Difficult for Providence to contain, especially when he's throwing the alley-oop.
Well, yeah, he does that very well, much like a Corciani or a Monty Tao, but he's got to do more than that today. You know, you look at Syracuse, it's an offensive Rolls Royce, especially when it's moving fast. But the steering wheel is imperative today. He's got to steer it right. He's got to weave through that defense and make the right decisions. That guy, Marty Conlon, had a career game the last time, and he is crucial to establishing an inside presence. I don't think you can beat Syracuse without something going well for you in the paint, despite the fact that Providence has proven that they are three-point rich. It's got to be inside something for Providence, and I think it's going to go down the stretch. I think it's going to close maybe in a few seconds, and I think Douglas at the line at the end is going to determine it.
Conlon, 29 points in his last outing against this club, and as you mentioned, if Providence can maybe contain a little bit on the inside, they can stay in this ball game.
Well, they've got to force Douglas to give it up.
That's tough.
Yeah, and when he gives it up, they can't let him have it back. Whether they're capable of doing that, I don't know. They've come close twice, and the percentage of 20 in a row, you got to feel like the Friars got a heck of a shot.
There's another intangible, Stevie Thompson, who is best in the running game and can burn ball clubs when they get the alley-oop attack running.
I don't think Providence is going to let it get into a running game. I think it's going to be some ambushes and back. I think if Barnes can pull that off and not let it get into a constant flow, I think he really enhances his chances.
Right now, for the introduction of the starting lineups, let's go to public address announcer John Condit.
Here are the starting lineups for today's second game. For the Orangemen of Syracuse University, at forward, number 30, Billy Owens. For the Friars, Providence College, at forward, number 22, Matt Palazzi. At forward for the Orangemen, number 32, Steve Thompson. At forward for the Friars, number 21, Cal Foster. At center for Syracuse, number 44, Derek Coleman. And for the Friars at center, number 30, Marty Conlon. At the guards for Syracuse, number 20, Sherman Douglas. For Providence, at the guards, number 11, Carlton Screen. And at the guards for Syracuse, number 3, Matt Rowe. And for the Friars, number 14, Eric Murdoch. The coaches for Providence College, Rick Barnes, and for Syracuse, Jim Boeheim.
Friars against the Orangemen. The winner will take on the Seton Hall Pirates. Opening tip-off coming up. Syracuse versus Providence in Big East play. Syracuse is 19-0 against Providence. In the Big East tournament, they have never met. Syracuse swept both games this year, although they were close. Here are the matchups.
The crucial matchup question is, Providence really doesn't have anybody to match up with Derek Coleman.
And on the opening tip, the ball will go to Syracuse. The Orangemen of Syracuse in the home white with the orange trim. Providence College Friars in the visiting black with the white trim. Steve Thompson quickly goes to the hoop, hands to Billy Owens, puts it up and in. Orangemen lead it 2-zip. The officials, Jim Burr, Mickey Crowley, and Tom O'Neill. Conlon fires for 3. Now we have a whistle, traveling called on Marty Conlon.
Marty Conlon took that jumper from the top of the key and instinctively took a step back and then followed his shot. He's got to make a decision one way or the other, and I think if he's the last man back, knowing how Syracuse likes to get out and go, he better get back.
What do you think of the Syracuse uniforms, Buck?
Maybe they'll grow on me. Not flattering, I'll say that. They look comfortable, though.
Billy Owens on the baseline. Owens has really come on. 5 double-figure games in a row. 22 for the season. Offensive foul called against Syracuse. And Jim Boeheim is pleading his case with Mickey Crowley, but to no avail. ACC upset. upset. Maryland smoking North Carolina State at the Omni in Atlanta by 22. That's a shocker.
And the granddaddy of all conference tournaments, never before has 8 beaten #1 in the first round. Bob Wade maybe just may save his situation at Maryland.
Stevie Thompson controls it for the Orange men. Outside to Sherman. The general.
Friars man for man.
Matt Rowe to Billy Owens. Here's Coleman. Carrick fires. Rebound Rowe. And Matt Rowe keeps it alive for Syracuse. Douglas for 3. Strong rebound by Palazzi. Here's Murdoch. Palazzi to a wide open screen for 3. Rebound, Cal Foster.
An exclamation point. No orange around on that one.
Tied at 2.
The higher seed wearing white. No white jerseys around that offensive rebound.
Syracuse number 3 seed, Providence number 6 seed. Douglas dumps it inside to Owens. Rebound Murdoch, who can do it all. Palazzi. Rebound Conlon. Gets the roll. 4-2 Friars.
Syracuse back that time. They had sufficient bodies back, but they really weren't ready to play. And the Friars ran it down their throat. Boy, Palazzi has more speed than he looks like.
Rowe held by Murdoch. Foul call. Each team with 1 team foul now. Eric Murdoch. 13 all Big East. All rookie team last year. Heck of a player.
Green and Murdoch, of course, will be back another year. That's a backcourt that doesn't get credit for what it's accomplished.
Owens is free. Rebound Cal Foster. And the Friars are going to run with it. Screen. Down the lane. Rebound to Billy Owens. Here's Douglas 2-on-2 with Thompson. Sherman wheels, deals, fall away. Rebound controlled by Conlon. The other way we go in racehorse basketball.
Looks like a windshield wiper game.
Nice feed, and there's Cal Foster again. The best percentage shot in the game. 6-2 Friars. Douglas to Thompson. Floater. Foul called underneath. It's going to be against Syracuse.
A lot of bodies on the deck. Syracuse really hasn't come to that offensive board with authority yet. The first time they tried, they got an offensive foul. Good penetration. Screen makes the feed underneath. Boy, it's a good thing that was a breakaway rim. Cal Foster, a 6'5" senior from Dayton, Ohio, doing chin-ups.
Abdul Shamsuddin is into the ball game, replacing Cal Foster for Providence. Herman Hareed is in, replacing Billy Owens for Syracuse. And also in the ball game is David Johnson, number 23 for the Orange men. Owens has 2 fouls, so Owens gets a breather, and so does Rowe. They're going to take away that jewelry from the neck of David Johnson. That is an MG. And so Jim Burr helps him remove it.
Number 23 is also in for the Orange men.
Jury and hoops. Sorry. That's a good rule. Well, the obvious is that there were injuries with rings and the necklaces, what have you. But somehow it just doesn't seem right.
Syracuse is 1 for 7 out of the gate. Providence is 3 for 7 from the field. And in the Southwest Conference Tournament, TCU a winner over Texas Tech, 84-66.
A real shocker in Greensboro, Maryland upsetting NC State, the top-seeded team, by a ton.
Out of bounds, last touch by Shamsuddin, and Syracuse will get it.
Well, the last time NC State played in Atlanta was against Georgia Tech. They just showed up in time for the game due to a snowstorm. Maybe this time they got in and had too much time to think about it. They did beat Georgia Tech on their home floor on that first occasion.
Johnson fires. Loose ball, there's Derek Coleman. Coleman in the lane. Shows no ill effects of the back injury as he puts in his first bucket.
Syracuse opening cold, needing some offensive board power, not getting that first one down.
Murdoch traveling. Thought about the three, wanted to penetrate, shuffled his feet. Turnover Friars. Timeout of the court. Just underway in this first half. Tempo is quick, and the Friars lead it by a deuce.
Board guy at Cuse. That got him back in the game. Such a sore back everybody should have.
6-6. Burton is in the ball game, number 15, Quentin Burton, junior, Columbia, Maryland.
This weave out front. It's hard to tell whether Syracuse is playing. Yes, they are playing man for man. All they did was switch off there as they began that weave. That looked like shades of an old Villanova team.
Conlon jumps at the Shamsuddin. No goaltending. The rejection by Coleman, but he keeps it in play.
Barnes is livid. He chased Mickey Crowley all the way to the baseline and part way down.
Douglas dishes to Coleman. Here's Stevie Thompson inside. He turns, misses. Shamsuddin got the rebound, and the foul is called against the Orangemen.
Boy, Thompson's like an EO on that baseline.
Rick Barnes is really livid.
His George Mason team of last year in the NCAA playoffs already as a result of winning the Colonial Tournament. Now he's trying to take this club in. And I think he will.
Chris Watts, number 33, makes his first appearance. Turnover Providence. And the Orangemen with a chance to go ahead at the 14:40 mark. Started fast, but there's been little scoring in this game. Coleman backing in. He fires. Shamsuddin with position. Out of bounds. Syracuse will keep it.
With Coleman backing out, shooting those short jumpers, it really is a help to Providence because he's off that offensive board. Jim Boeheim has mastered Providence over his career. There is 20 straight on that ledger. He's never lost to him.
Cal Foster back in. First appearance for Marvin Sadler as the Friars continue to shuffle. Herman Hareed. Off to Sherman Douglas. Douglas penetrating against screen. Hareed. Thompson penetrates. Rebound Sadler.
Good D that time. They forced Thompson to go right, and he did. Had to turn back with that left hand. That's a tough shot.
Screen. Dishes to Foster. He turns. And Coleman gets it to Douglas. Here come the Orangemen in transition. Sherman feeds Hareed. Out of control, but the rebound followed up and in by Thompson.
Bodies hitting the deck. A no call that hurt both bodies.
Inside Foster. He fires. Strong rebound by Hareed. Here's Douglas where he likes it in transition. Coleman with the jam and a foul. And Coleman getting up slowly.
Well, of course, he's had a lot of rest this week with an injured lower back, showing no signs of it here. He attacks the iron, sends Providence Friars flying. There was a no call here? No, they called a block. A concussion by the blocker, and the blockee goes to the free throw line.
Derek holding that lower back a little bit. Steps up. This is the free throw.
Well, he has been shooting those much better this year.
Those slam dunks are good for your back, aren't they, Buck? Stretches things out.
He stretched out a few Friars, too. That'll scrape them off the standards there.
8 in a row for the Orangemen. They lead 10-6. Here's Sadler. Sadler fall away. No basket. Foul before, and it's on Derek Coleman.
Providence able to make the entry pass down inside. The problem, without the dunk, the Providence centers have not been able to convert.
Blasey, Murdoch, Conlon back in for the Friars.
Coleman's first personal foul. Mark Conlon, number 30.
Both teams use it, especially Providence will use a lot of people. Syracuse credited with having an excellent starting five. What is still suspect in terms of a Final Four is whether or not the bench can deliver. And in a 3-day tournament, In this kind of competition, we'll find out.
Conlon, nice look to Sadler. Rebound pulled down by Herman Haree.
Again, Providence all over that rim, in and close. They just can't get it down.
David Johnson's shot, kept alive by Stevie Thompson. Coleman tips it, and it's tipped in by Stevie Thompson or David Johnson. Give the hoop to Stevie Thompson. Screen back the other way. Nice dish to Sadler, and it's 12-8. Here's Douglas wheeling to the front court. Sherman back to Haree. Rebound, Conlon. Now Carlton screen pushes it. The New York product. Murdoch for three. Got it! 12-11, the Friars within one.
Providence has elected not to full court press, but they haven't had to. They've gotten the kind of game and tempo that they like best. And when you press Sherman Douglas, usually you turn them up a notch.
Douglas to Coleman. Back to Sherman. He stops, he pops, he hits. 14-11, Orangemen. Carlton screen. Murdoch. Good hustle on the part of Haree, but he's called for a reach.
Both Conlon and Coleman, who are guarding each other, both down grabbing their chunks, both grasping for air.
Well, Providence took the early lead 6-2, but right now it's Syracuse by 3. We'll be back. And we'll return after these local messages. At the conclusion of this quarterfinal game, we'll be selecting the Plymouth Player of the Game, recognizing the game's outstanding player. Just one part of Chrysler Motors' sponsorship of Big East Conference basketball. Bruce Beck, Bucky Waters, Madison Square Garden, New York City. Quarterfinal action of the Big East Tournament. Syracuse coach Jim Boeheim, his club leading 14-11. Syracuse has won the Big East Championship twice. St. John's has won it twice. The Georgetown Hoyas have dominated, winning 5 championships in the first 9 years of the conference tournament.
But you know, Bruce, only 3 times has the top-seeded team won the tournament. Twice it was Georgetown, once St. John's. For all the others, it's been an upset, or a so-called upset.
Here's Matt Rowe taking the baseline. He fires, he draws the foul, he'll go to the line for 2. Coleman threw that ball the length of the court with the right hand, and it was on target.
That was a frozen rope.
His first personal foul.
Boy, he's some player. He has matured in so many ways.
Matt Rowe on the line.
Frontierswoman woman settled.
First appearance as Matt Rowe goes to the line for 2. He leads the Big East Conference in three-point field goal percentage, 47%. At the free throw line, he's a 68% free throw shooter. He's the perimeter threat for the Orangemen. Rebound, Owens, and Palazzi is there. Syracuse by 4. As Eric Murdoch brings it across. Marty Conlon. If the Friars don't have the break, they're going to be a little patient, aren't they?
Indeed they are, and they've got the guards to do it. Palazzi's key to this game. He's one of those in-between guys with a three-point range that can just change everything. Thank you.
Need I say more as Palazzi buries a 3.
Well, I remember his father, of course, was a great player. We were doing a game of the week, ECAC game of the week, and his father, Togo, introduced Marv Albert and I to him. He's kind of a chubby kid, and I asked his dad what kind of player he's going to be. He said, well, he's a little slow, but he's got a big heart.
That's a foul against Conlon as Douglas got the charge. Sherman positioned himself near the midcourt line. And that is 5 team fouls now on the Friars, and the first personal on Marty Conlon.
It's easy to see on the surface that both of these teams like to play the same way. And when you play that wide-open style, then logically you say, well, it goes to the team with more talent, which is obviously Syracuse. But the percentages of 20 in a row and 2 close games this year give Providence certainly confidence that they can do it. And Rick Barnes doesn't want to hear about 20 in a row. He said, I'm 0-2 against them. That's the only 2 games he's concerned with.
Cal Foster with the rebound for the Friars. Here's Murdoch. Murdoch penetrates all the way, and a whistle. Coleman pinned the ball. The question is, when did the foul occur? The basket counts on the goaltending call against Coleman, and a chance for a three-point play.
Watch Coleman, number 44, follow the play in. The ball had hit the board. That was the call. Now, once it gets on the board, you've got to get there simultaneously. You can still pin it on the board, but once it hits the board, it's assumed to be on its way down. So the timing on pinning it has to be almost perfect. And that time, Coleman didn't get it.
Foul on Steve Thompson, his second. Murdoch with 5 points. Basket counts, and now a chance for a three-point play. Friars lead it 16-15 with 10:18 to go in the first half of play. Now the officials conferred. Jim Burr, Mickey Crowley. If the basket counts, I would think it's going to be a three-point opportunity here for Murdoch to take one free throw. That's simple. One shot.
There's a guy in a striped shirt that didn't think it was so simple. He thought it was Derek Coleman's 117th reject.
Coleman gets the rebound on the miss of the free throw. Orangeman down a point. Douglas to Stevie Thompson. Here's David Johnson. Billy Owens called for traveling. Let me set the Providence lineup for you. They have Darrell Wright on the floor, going with 4 other starters: Matt Palazzi, Marty Conlon, Eric Murdoch, and Cal Foster. Foster with the ball. Palazzi off a pick. Palazzi fires for 3. Rebound Johnson. The Orangemen look to Sherman when it's transition time. And a foul is called on Darrell Wright. So Providence with 5 team fouls, Syracuse with 6 at the 9:47 mark.
Everybody credits Syracuse with being the good offensive machine, and they are. But they also hold their opponents to 44% field goal shooting, which is very respectable. And I think that's a dimension of the Syracuse team over the last couple of years that has improved significantly. Used to be that 2-3 zone, and if you were cold, you lost. If you were hot, you could beat them. Now they come at you at both ends.
Douglas buries a 3. Iowa State winning today over Oklahoma State. And the Cyclones advance in the Big 8. Murdoch fires. Douglas had the ball, lost it to Palazzi. Good hustle by Palazzi, but it goes out of bounds for the Orangemen.
Boy, it's hard not to hustle when you're on the floor with Matt Palazzi. He's one of those guys you can't really measure in stats, averaging 13 points a game, but he's more than that. He's relentless.
Douglas directing traffic as always. 22 assists to tie an NCAA record in the first meeting between these two teams. That's a foul on Cal Foster.
That would make you think twice about pressing him a second time. Absolutely. Rick Barnes elected not to. It was 87-80. The Friars were 7 points short in Providence, but it was much closer than that.
That's his first.
Foul is on Cal Foster. Coleman on the inbound, blocked. And a foul is called. Well, you usually see it the other way with Coleman rejecting somebody else's shot.
Gretchen, followed by Marty Conlon.
Foul is on Marty Conlon. That's his second. And now Abdul Shamsuddin replaces Conlon in that Providence lineup. This is a coming home for many Friars. You have Marty Conlon from Bronxville, New York, played for Archbishop Stepinac. Eric Murdoch from Bridgewater, New Jersey. Carlton Screen, who played in the Catholic League for Zabarian High School in Brooklyn. You've got Marcus Bragg of Clifford Scott in East Orange, New Jersey. Shamsuddin from Staten Island. And Darrell Wright from Cardinal Hayes in New York. A lot of New York flavor to that Providence lineup. Here's Shamsuddin. He turns, he fires, he hits it. He may not look pretty, but when he gets going, the Friars become dangerous.
An awkward gate as he edged into the paint and shot it right over Owens. It looked like Owens forgot for a moment he was left-handed.
Douglas dishes to Owens for 3. Billy Owens connects on a 3-pointer, just his 7th of the year. Syracuse by 5.
Friars going back to that weave. Syracuse just passes him off.
Foster inside shot to Dean. Good hustle under there by Murdoch. Foster keeps it alive. Out of bounds, Providence ball.
Providence a force on that offensive board. Boeheim is livid at his front line. He wants to get it off there after one shot, and let's get out and go with it.
Polazzi penetrates, fires. David Johnson with the board. Owens. Followed by Johnson. Owens gets it back. And a third opportunity for Syracuse as the ball goes out of bounds. So both teams following the misses. Now there's a timeout with just under 8 minutes to play in the first half. It's Syracuse by 4. And we'll return after these messages from your local stations. At Boston College will take on the number 1 seed, the Georgetown Hoyas, tonight at Madison Square Garden.
Many times that happens. I'm sure Georgetown was looking at that and say, boy, I really don't want to play St. John's in the Garden again. And you get a sigh of relief and say, hey, we got a break. And so many times a team like Boston College coming in under those circumstances surprises yet another time. In fact, just a few years ago, it was an Auburn team by Sonny Smith. Came in and had to play a qualifying game in the SEC tournament and went on to win the tournament. An incredible run at the end. Just it seems at the Ides of March, miraculous things happen.
They just cleared up a error on the scoreboard, and it's a 22-18 Syracuse lead. Tennessee winning against LSU, but that game was at Tennessee, right?
You betcha.
That's a big difference, so don't get through by that score. Playing on your home court in a tournament, big time difference. Murdoch missing. Rebound Murdoch. He fires. It's amazing that both teams are getting 2-3 opportunities every time down the floor.
Well, even in the first game, we saw that, good shots, easy shots. Nobody can get it down. A lot of tension.
Sherman Douglas inside Derek Coleman. Nice look to Jackson, who lays it in.
Are you kidding me? Derek Coleman at 6'9", a little look away, bounce pass to feed the post. Very impressive.
6-point lead for the Orange men. Foster with position. And he got caught for walking, and it was the intimidation of Coleman. He was just standing there, ready to block, and it forced the change.
Back to basket, 20 feet away. Slides in underneath beautifully. David Johnson coming off the bench. The question mark for Syracuse is bench.
Thompson in the lane. Fall away. Thompson's been quiet so far. Providence doing a good job on him. Screen penetrates. Inside shot to Dean. Oh, won't go down. Foster gets the ball, and the foul is on Owens.
Yeah, but you get the feeling, the way Providence is hitting that offensive board, that eventually they're going to come thundering through. Every time down, they get their hands on the second and third shot. And that bodes ill for the Orange. Jim Boeheim's expecting his bench to come through in this game, in this tournament, with 3 games back-to-back. But right now, he's concerned about getting on the board, and he is very clear in his direction. 1 shot, that's all he wants to see. He can live with that from the Friars.
Owens, with 3 fouls, has a seat on the bench, replaced by Herman Hareed. Changes to the Friars now on the floor. Screen, Murdoch, Foster, Conlon, and Wright. Orange been going with Douglas, Stevie Thompson, Hareed, Coleman, and Johnson. Douglas forced that pass, and Murdoch picks it up like a vulture. What great hands he has. Screens pass, Conlon controls. Nice look to Foster, and that's his favorite play, the slam. He's got 3 of them today.
Rick Barnes knows when he gets the ball to his center, especially down low, the only time it's gone through has been a dunk. Everything else has been frustration.
5:50 first half, Syracuse by 4. Coleman backing in. Johnson. His pass intended for Hareed, picked off by Screen. Screen loses it. Douglas the other way, 4-on-3. Sherman to Thompson. He loses it. And Cal Foster's rear end went over the line, and it will be Syracuse ball.
Certainly not highlight film footage there in that exchange. Both teams ragged. This game way under expectations scoring-wise, with 5 minutes and 27 seconds remaining in the first half. Syracuse with just 24 points, Providence 20. But believe me, the action has been furious.
Matt Rowe in for Syracuse, and Greg Bent, number 23, in for Providence. Douglas, blocked by Conlon. Douglas again gets it. 7 points, 3 assists for Sherman. And the Orangemen lead at 26-20. Darrell Wright, nice look to Conlon. Conlon double team. Outside screen for 3. Herman Hareed with the rebound.
Providence cold.
Hareed's done a good job on defensive boards off the bench. Douglas for 3. Rebound Murdoch with screen ahead of him. And a whistle and a foul called on Douglas, and Sherman raises his hand. He knew it. Both teams over the limit. First foul on Douglas. Murdoch will shoot 1 and 1.
That's his first personal foul.
You should never make a play, try to stop the break defensively. Looking at Douglas at the line, bent over, holding his trunks, a little bit tired. He missed that three-point attempt and then got careless trying to stop the fast break around midcourt. That's awfully tough to do, especially against guards like Screen and Murdoch.
Freshman Richard Manning is in the game for Syracuse as Murdoch finds a friendly rim. Now Chris Watts is in, replacing Screen in the backcourt. Eric Murdoch, 90 steals, 125 assists. What a floor game he plays every ball game. 7 for Murdoch. Syracuse 26, Providence 22. 5 minutes to go, first half of play. The winner will meet Seton Hall in the semifinal tomorrow. One of the semifinals.
So far, Providence able to get away with Conlon guarding Coleman. So far, I said.
Here's Coleman, and he gets the roll.
On cue.
You go right on, Coach.
These guys are listening.
28-22.
Darrell Wright, cross court to Watts.
Boy, Watts is a three-point shooter, but he's beyond the NBA three-point line.
Coleman with 9 points and 7 rebounds to pace the Orangemen. Providence down by 6. Darrell Wright for 3. Coleman with a rebound. Syracuse moving it quickly as Douglas fires to Thompson. Here's Manning. Rebound Conlon. Murdoch. Bent missing. Bent with the rebound. Right with the board. And a foul court. And the foul is on Matty Rowe. Jim Boeheim with another 20-win season. That's 11 times out of 13 years. They'll be going to the postseason tournament for the 13th straight year under Boeheim.
Incredible. 10 NCAAs and 2 NITs.
Cal Foster back in for the Friars, replacing Marty Conlon. And at the free throw line is Darrell Wright.
Well, you get the feeling Providence just can't do anything right, and yet they're hanging in there. When you're as cold as they are, Syracuse is supposed to be blowing you out. And they're managing to hang in.
Darrell Wright, who averaged over 10 per game last year, only 5 this year. Didn't start. He's a fearless player, though. Capable of lighting up the opponent. So Providence hanging in there, trailing by 4 at the 3:48 mark of the first half of play. We'll take a short break. Syracuse 28, Providence 24. Under 4 minutes to go, first half. Derek Coleman.
Matchup inside that concerns the Friars. Coleman down inside one-on-one with Conlon. Coleman was shooting some jump shots early. He gets positioned much too easy down inside. Takes it right up over Marty Conlon. Conlon, concerned about foul trouble, basically accepts the move and the deuce.
Rowe to Coleman. Foul underneath, and Derek Coleman will go to the line for 2.
I'll tell you who didn't accept the move, though. That was Foster coming from the weak side.
Foster, that's his second personal foul.
Second personal on Foster. Field goal shooting in this game, Providence 9 for 31, 29%. Syracuse 12 for 36, 33%.
Both teams struggling offensively. If you look at them over the year, Syracuse 55% team from the floor, Providence 49. But again, I make the point, when you're shooting, when you're as cold as Providence is against Syracuse, you're supposed to be out of here.
Coleman missing the pair. And it stays at a 4-point game. Bent, he can stroke it. He hits a three. And it's 28-27. The Friars cut the lead to 1. Matt Rowe over to Coleman. The Orange Men were 10-6 in the Big East. They were 18-1 at home, but on the road, a mere mortal 5-5.
That's the best year ever in the Dome for Jim Boeheim's team.
Rowe looking for the shot. Has nothing. Shot clock is down to 14. Crowd coming alive. Shot clock at 10. Douglas penetrates. Beautiful floating move.
Douglas really in control. Not perturbed at all by the shot clock. Just wanted the ball with 10 seconds to go, and I'll make it happen.
And a foul called on the inbound. Murdoch pushed off against Douglas. And Douglas will go to the line for 1-1. What a turnaround this could be.
Douglas trying to get back off the end line, following his layup. Gets decked. Good camera work, guys. I wasn't sure what happened there.
So Douglas, a chance for 1-1. Both teams over the limit. 2:45 to play. First half, Syracuse by 3. You know, I'm not so sure, Bucky, if you're Providence and the shot clock goes down to 10 and Douglas got the ball, if that's good or bad. Because he creates.
Well, I think most teams say, hey, he's just going to drive it in there and feed off, so people play the outlets. That time he's surprised by taking it all away. And I think the foul by Murdoch was frustration coming back.
Manning with the rebound. And it's as if Syracuse has put together a 5-point play. The Douglas drive, the free throw, the follow by Manning, and suddenly they're up 6.
Watch a three-pointer being tracked by Thompson.
Bent outside the Carlton screen. Watts dumps it to Bent. Blocked by Coleman.
Strong D. Almost effortless reject that time by Coleman. Came into the tournament with 116 for the season.
That's a foul on Palazzi. And it's 1-1 for the Orange. Marvin Sadler back in. Darrell Wright in for the Friars.
Again, 2 minutes, 9 seconds in the first half. It's a 6-point game, but Providence has turned their bench over. Syracuse basically staying with the same group.
Stevie Thompson will almost praise every time he goes to the free throw line, missing. And with 2 minutes to go in the half, the Friars with a chance to cut down the lead. Bent backing in. Ball away. Good. Oh, does he have a stroke?
That one was under duress, too. He had his tonsils checked on that one. That fadeaway and high arc is what he needs, though.
Greg Bent from San Jack Junior College. Played with Drew Harvey and Michael Porter there. Douglas's shot. Tipped around. And it will be off from Syracuse. So Providence again within striking distance, down 4.
It's hard to explain. You watch this game go back and forth. And the frustrations of a very cold Providence team, and yet they're hanging in there. And Syracuse is scoring or getting fouled, coming in bounds. A second shot, offensive rebounds off the lane. This has not been a usual game either.
Hey, it's tournament time, and you can throw away all the plans and all the records because just going to let it all hang out and play tough.
The Ides of March, huh?
Forget the shooting percentages. Palazzi missing. Rebound Bent. Fall away. Good! Bent with 3 buckets off the bench. And it's a 2-point ball game. Syracuse 33-31. A minute to go first half.
Both teams way under their 91-point average for Syracuse, 85 Providence.
Kick by a Fryer. Douglas wants a fresh 45-second clock. I don't think he's going to get it. Matt Rowe back in for Syracuse. And Quinn Burton is back in for Providence. 51 seconds left in the half, 27 on the shot clock.
Providence will get the ball back with plenty of time.
Rowe. Shot clock down to 14. Matt Rowe for 3. And the rebound controlled by the Friars. Here's Bent with 30 seconds. Douglas takes it away. Thompson, look out! Syracuse back up by 4.
Bent was trying to get rid of that ball as he should have been in the middle, but a dangerous pass. 2-3 zone now by the Orange. Douglas so alert that time as he dropped back and almost had another one there.
7 seconds left in the half. Screen. Better start looking. Burton, good if it goes. And that is it. Close first half, similar to the other quarterfinal game we had today between Seton Hall and UConn. Not very pretty, but the Orangemen of Syracuse leading it by 4.
Yeah, but they needed a big mental error to get that momentum at the end. Providence has to feel very good about its chances. It practically has done nothing right, and it's within 4 of the Orangemen.
So at halftime, Syracuse 35, Providence 31. We'll be back with our halftime festivities in a moment. And we'll return after these messages from your local stations.
Program for a long time. We've got, I think, 4 best assistants in the country, and John Carroll and Rod Baker and Tom Sullivan and Bruce Hamburger. And we got players that are a lot better than people realize. We keep getting credit, but we've got great players.
Hey, PJ, the game earlier today was a war. It wasn't pretty, but you got the W. What are your thoughts?
Well, it was an ugly game, but I just thought defensively we did a very good job. UConn just played so hard. They beat us up on the offensive boards. We couldn't keep them off the offensive boards. Fortunately, our defense kept us in the game. They did a great job getting out and playing our outside people. They didn't let us get the open shots we normally get outside. And fortunately, Ramon and Darryl came up real big. And I thought Michael Cooper and Anthony Avent off the bench really helped us a lot.
All right, you played Syracuse twice this year. You lost twice. So what happens if you play Syracuse in the semifinal?
Well, hopefully we can turn that around. But we just have to play a lot better defensively than we did in either of the first 2 games against Syracuse.
Against Providence, you swept the Friars. So what are your thoughts trying to beat a team for 3 times in one season?
Well, I'll tell you, it's difficult. We went through that today, but I think we were fortunate. We did it twice in like the last 10 days, and I really think they were very tight looking for that win that they got at BC, and I think that we play them now. They turned us over more than anybody in the league. They have great pressure. They present more problems to you with their defensive traps. I don't like playing against either team, to be honest with you.
PJ, do you throw out the numbers when you get to the conference tournament? Is it just a battle for who wants to advance?
It really is. I think, you know, the games don't seem to flow too much. It's like the NCAA. It's a defensive struggle. You work for every basket. And I think the kids are a little bit tighter than they are at any other point. You get a little conservative.
PJ, congratulations on the postseason honor. Good luck to your club tomorrow in the semifinal.
Thanks a lot, Bruce.
PJ Carlesimo, head coach of the Seton Hall Pirates. We're at halftime at the Garden, quarterfinal action. Syracuse 35, Providence 31. And we'll return after these messages from your local stations. Our halftime score, Syracuse 35, Providence 31. Syracuse won the first 2 meetings this year over the Providence College Friars in another close ball game. Providence really struggling from the field, 33%, but Syracuse not much better at 37. And Buck, what about those free throws?
Well, I think Syracuse free throw troubles are well documented. They're only 60% for the season, but 3 for 10 is downright benevolent. And when you look at the fact that they have beaten Providence 20 straight times, although Rick Barnes only wants to know about 2, the fact that those kind of percentages are what upsets are made out of. And I'm sure Jim Boeheim probably didn't even mention the free throw percentage at the halftime, because with no time to do anything about it, he didn't want to make it mental. 9 turnovers for the Friars, only 4 for Syracuse. That's impressive. But the free throw shooting already rearing its head and basically keeping Providence in the game.
Conlon lays it up and in as we begin the second half of play. two-point game.
Biggest lead in the first half. Syracuse had it by 6, but they had it 5 different times. Providence had a 4-point lead in the first half. It was even, but not pretty.
Foul called before the shot. It's a reach-in foul. And it's again against Cal Foster. That's his third personal. Syracuse will inbound.
The boards were basically even at the half, and that was a moral victory, if nothing else, for Providence. Good gracious.
Traveling is the call. Douglas was thinking about a 360, but only went about 185 and ran into a man and got charged with the offensive.
He got hung up with 2 black jerseys and bodies in both of them.
Carlton screen. Looking inside to Conlon. He's got a step. Looks for Foster. Maybe an overpass.
Yes,
Matt Rowe gets the ball.
Good point. Just take it right up. Coleman may block it, but that was not good percentage pass.
Owens takes the baseline. Coleman is there for the tip. Out-of-town scoreboard. North Carolina by 14, playing Georgia Tech on Tech's home court.
Not exactly, Bruce. That game is in the Omni.
Okay.
But it's in Atlanta.
They play most of their games there, don't they?
Well, they used to, but they've moved them. They moved them all to their home court on campus.
Okay, here's Foster, and he gets the roll. 37-35. Syracuse by 2.
Syracuse leads 37-35.
Good hustle by Screen. Owens pops. Thompson is there. He misses a chippy, and Foster has the board.
For 2 games now, we have seen teams all over the rim. Nobody can get the ball to go down.
Palazzi dishes inside to Conlon, and a foul is called. And it's on the Orange men. It's on Derek Coleman.
Followed by Derek Coleman. That's his
Second personal on Coleman.
Only foul trouble at the half was Owens of Syracuse. He had 3. Orange now showing 2-3 off the baseline out of bounds.
Providence College Friars have lost 5 of their last 6, but they have been close. This year they're 2-5 in games decided by 5 points or less. Basket counts, credited to Cal Foster. And I'll go to the line, chance for a 3-point play.
Good pass by Conlon. That time he didn't overpass. Foster wide open underneath. Conlon at the high post. Fakes the shot. Pulls Coleman to him. Drills it down underneath. Foster had a hard time converting those in the first half. Seemed he had a lot of easy shots he couldn't get down.
That was the 3rd foul on Steve Thompson. Foster has been a big factor in this ball game thus far. Tied at 37. 17:40 to play. Rowe goes down. Douglas back to Rowe. Nothing like getting ready quick.
He wasn't even all the way up, and he had it back.
Foul called underneath.
That's pretty good reaction that time by Matt Rowe. He falls down. That probably should have been a walk. Now he's about halfway up. Douglas, not knowing that, gives it back to him. It's like, hey man, don't lay down on me over there. Get up, get up. Here's the ball.
Sherman said, well, you get back into the game.
Rowe wanted to go on sabbatical. Douglas would have none of it.
Foul was called on Marty Conlon, his 3rd, and Abdul Shamsuddin now replaces Cal Foster.
Peculiar game.
Coleman.
Conlon staying right with him, keeping good pressure on the ball.
Here's Billy Owens on the baseline. Nice move.
And he's got 3 personal fouls. He has to be just a little bit cautious about that charge. Big time move. Boy, he's some freshman. That's some freshman team in the Big East.
Screen for 3. Rebound Coleman.
I don't think any other league has that kind of firepower at the freshman level. Bodes well for the Big East Conference for several years to come.
Owens looking for his shot a lot more confident the last 6 games or so. So much was expected of him that it was almost impossible to live up to those expectations. But when you look at his season, 12 points, 6.5 rebounds, 54% from the field, it's not too bad. Conlon leaves as Marvin Sadler reports for PC. Rowe out to Sherman.
Providence defense is good.
Coleman posting up. Coleman goes down. No call. Ball picked up by Murdoch. Here's screen. Back to Murdoch. He stops. Oh.
They had the 4-on-3. There were 2 Orangemen back on the deck.
And the ball will go to Providence. Last touch by a Syracuse player. Shamsuddin plays it to screen. PC is down a deuce. Last year, 11 and 17. Rick Barnes took over this club as Palazzi bangs a jumper, and we're tied at 39. And what a job Barnes has done.
Palazzi penetrated the zone that time just with the dribble. Just found the seam with a strong dribble, squared up and drilled it.
Thompson loses it to screen. Friars can go ahead. Screen to Palazzi. Inside Shamsuddin. Blocked by Coleman. And a foul is called.
That's Jim Boeheim doing an alligator imitation over there.
3 on Coleman.
Coleman coming from the weak side, down inside. Good entry pass. Much easier than Jim Boeheim. We couldn't see the angle with the body. It was all ball on the top. Whether or not he got him with the body, he'll never convince Jim Boeheim. Shamsuddin now falling into the trap of the Orangemen. Benevolence at the free throw line.
Substitution for Syracuse. David Johnson replacing Stevie Thompson.
Stephen Thompson.
39 all. Providence not sure why it's in this game with a powerful club like Syracuse, but they're hanging in there.
Douglas. Coleman. Fall away. Coleman again. And a foul is called underneath. It's against Palazzi, and Coleman will shoot 2. Douglas a little unhappy.
In the first 2 games, both teams basically did their thing. It was a 100-point game. It was a high 80s game. Both teams played pretty well and came away feeling, that they'd really done their thing. In this game, the 3rd game in the first round of the tournament, neither team recognizes not only the other guy, but themselves. Completely out of character. The strengths have not delivered. The weaknesses have not really harmed them, except for the free throws of Syracuse. That's been the only constant.
Coleman's numbers thus far: 12 points, 13 boards, 3 blocks.
Without him, the Orange would be in major league trouble.
So Coleman connects on both free throws, and the Orangemen of Syracuse have a 2-point lead with 15:33 to go in the second half. He believes in the NCAA championship. And here's the Dome Ranger strutting his stuff.
Owens doesn't need a mask. He does it barefaced. A big-time move for the freshman. It was early. Providence 4 for 7 in the second half. Syracuse only 2 for 7 in the second half. So the cold hand for the Orange continues. And they're leaving Providence hang around. After 20 in a row, they really need to put the Friars away quick, or the percentages will catch up with them.
Murdoch penetrates, fires, hits. We're tied at 41.
It's 5 for 8 for the Friars, so they have picked up. Orange remain cold.
Green knocks it out of bounds.
Rick Barnes has managed a tough defense without going to their staple. No full court pressure at all in this first round game.
Rose fires. Rebound Owens. Good look. And David Johnson slams it home.
Owens just doesn't play like a freshman. No frustration. No hassle. Just puts the ball where it belongs.
Carlton screen for the Friars. Marvin Sadler. Shamsuddin posting up Coleman underneath. Shot clock gets down to 22.
The Orange don't like to stay on defense too long. They'd much rather you jack it up so they can run with it.
Shamsuddin. Off it goes to screen. Floater. Rebound Derek Coleman. And Murdoch intercepts the pass intended for Douglas. Here's Murdoch penetrating. Shamsuddin.
The Orange had the numbers going the other way. A tremendous athletic move by Murdoch.
Injured player in the court is David Johnson. He's holding his head, his left ear as well.
Quinton Thornton, number 15, Martin Conlon, number 30, in for the Friars. Stephen Thompson, number
Coleman
32,
with the big outlet pass, picked off. When you throw that outlet pass down the middle, you gamble at it. It's usually better off to the side where the defense isn't. Murdoch not only makes a steal, he makes the good penetration, the good bounce pass, and it turns to a deuce, an exclamation point deuce.
Douglas to Johnson. Johnson loses the ball, and a foul is called.
Boy, Johnson put tremendous pressure on the defense that time. Came right at him.
A little more talking in this second half. You know, we talked up top about Syracuse running and the use of the alley-oops. It has been almost non-existent in this ball game.
Credit to Friars' defense.
Murdoch with 3 fouls now. Stevie Thompson, a big factor in the first game between these two teams. And a pretty good factor in the second as well. He had 29 in the first, 19 in the second. He has only 6 points in this game.
46% free throw shooter. And that one was perfecto.
So Johnson hits 1 of 2, and the Orange lead by 1, 44-43. Screen to Murdoch. Murdoch penetrates, loses the ball. Thompson with Johnson and Douglas. Johnson loses it, and a whistle and a foul called on the screen of Providence.
The Friars in trouble. Caught back with a 3-on-1.
Rick Barnes.
Might not have been a bad foul at all.
34 years of age, born in Hickory, North Carolina.
It's up in the hills, west of Charlotte. Short of Boone. Paid his dues, too. He's one of those instant success stories that paid his dues as an assistant at Davidson, at Alabama, at Ohio State. Finally got his head coaching shot. George Mason there in the NCAA, winning the Colonial Conference this year, and he's done a remarkable job in the hot city of Providence.
46-43 Syracuse. 13-10 to go.
Syracuse wants none of that weed. They won't chase it. They'll just switch.
Chris Watts in the game, as is Greg Bent, and a foul is called on Derek Coleman.
All great rejectors will go for that fake, and it was a pretty good fake. When Marty Conlon comes out and squares up and shows the ball, he deserves respect.
That's a big one, number 4 on Derek Coleman, who has really been the key in this game for Syracuse. He's replaced by freshman Richard Manning. That's a major change. Let's see if the Friars take advantage of it. Thompson 3 fouls, Owens 3, Coleman 4 for the Orange. Foster, Conlon, Murdoch each with 3 for the Friars.
Bent down inside, should get some opportunities now without the awesome presence of Coleman.
And there's Bent with the lefty floater, and it's 46-45. Right on, Coach Waters.
6-7 guys like Bent get their courage up when they don't look up and see number 44 in the lane for the Orange. I tell you, every indicator now says trouble for the Orange.
Johnson blocked by Conlon. Providence can take the lead at the 12-20 mark. Here's screen. Walk to Watts for 3. Ball goes out of bounds. Watts is a 3-point specialist. This year, he's made only 2 2-pointers and 22 3-pointers.
He doesn't want to be inside that line. Get hurt in there. I want to play out here in a tuxedo.
Thompson to Owens. David Johnson, nice pump fake. Got it.
Somebody's got to do it. The guy that's been doing it for the Orange is on the bench in foul trouble. Derek Coleman.
Johnson with 9 points. Syracuse by 3.
Interesting. Without Coleman in there now, the Orange straight 2-3 zone.
Thompson and Douglas up front. Manning, Johnson, Owens on the backside. Green whips it across court to Watts. Loses the ball to Thompson with Douglas. Look out. Sherman lays it in.
Can you believe that? In a 2-3 zone now, Syracuse is making the steal and running the break. When all of their tough man-for-man earlier really didn't create those opportunities.
Suddenly a sea of orange floods Madison Square Garden as Syracuse opens up a 5-point lead.
Like everything else that's happened today, almost illogical.
Bench to Conlon. Conlon gets his own rebound and a foul is called. And it's against Syracuse.
Without Coleman in there, that ball just seems to hang around on the defensive board for Syracuse.
Massive changes for Providence as Cal Foster, Matt Palazzi, Darrell Wright all report. But first, there's a timeout. Syracuse with Coleman on the bench, now leading by 5. And we'll return after these messages from your local station. The Chrysler Corporation sponsorship of Big East basketball. This afternoon in the ACC tournament, Maryland shocked NC State 71-49. After the game, Maryland coach Bob Wade hospitalized while speaking with reporters. Taken from the game on a stretcher to Georgia Baptist Hospital. And doctors there reporting that Wade was suffering from dehydration. We'll keep you posted. Back to this ball game, and what a game it is. Syracuse leading by 5 with 11 minutes to play. Providence with the ball. Coleman on the bench, 4 fouls. 13 points, 14 boards.
Providence, with this proclivity for the outside shot, has not solved this 2-3 zone.
Well, that does. Palazzi nailing a 3-point field goal, and the Friars cut the lead quickly to 2. 8 for Palazzi.
Not quite to the 10-minute mark. Boeheim's got to be wondering how long he can keep Coleman on the bench.
Owens nailing the J, and it's a 4-point lead for Syracuse. Conlon to Darrell Wright. Watched by Owens. Outside Palazzi.
I'll tell you, it's not a passive 2-3, though. Syracuse aggressive, really putting good pressure on the ball, especially Owens.
Darrell Wright to Murdoch. Friars trailing by 4 inside of 10 minutes in the ball game. Conlon blocked by Manning. Foul call.
Conlon taking that ball to the basket with authority. A 71% free throw shooter. That's a good risk for the Friars.
Especially with Coleman out of the game.
I expected Syracuse to be going zone with Coleman in there to try to protect him, but the zone has looked pretty good without him. Conlon with a career high 29 the last time these two met. You got a bunch of these too.
6 points, 7 boards for Marty Conlon, and that is all. Down to 2 again. 52-50 Syracuse. David Johnson to Billy Owens. Owens backs in. Still makes the pass. It goes out of bounds. Syracuse will keep it.
Providence had an opportunity that time. Owens failing on his one-on-one move, but the great athlete that he is managed to salvage it sitting down.
Owens out to Douglas. Thompson. Douglas fires. Foster knocks it away. Owens still loose in there. Out of bounds. Last touch by the Friars. Oh my.
Manning keeping that ball alive in there. Without Coleman.
Johnson gets the roll.
Boy, he's
doing a job with Coleman on the bench.
He and Manning have to deliver.
And Douglas almost knocked it out of bounds off of Providence. Jim Boeheim thought it was a deflection. Providence keeps the ball under 9 minutes to play. 54-50 Syracuse.
Keep in mind, Syracuse free throw shooting problems. We know as the game gets close to the end that they're going to have to go to the line. And so far they haven't managed to give themselves much of a pad to miss a few free throws.
Murdoch using a pick by Conlon. Stops and fires. Wright keeps it alive, out of bounds, and Providence will keep it this time.
That's cool. Frustrating for everybody. Nobody can do what they want to do. It's just a struggle, a battle of wills. And the first game was very similar. Seton Hall struggled all day long to get past the Huskies.
Offensive possessions have been long. You know, you get 3-4 shots. Conlon barrels into Johnson. He got Johnson up in the air, and the foul is called on David Johnson.
You know, it looked like Conlon was really a little bit out of control. He almost barreled into him.
David Johnson. His first personal foul.
It's like intramural tryouts or something. These guys are trying so hard. And it's amazing how talented these people are. But it just isn't coming out that way today.
Conlon continuing to hit free throws. Young man from Bronxville, New York. Archbishop Stepinac High School. New York roots. And it's a 2-point game again.
He shoots him like Jerry Lucas. Kind of off to the side with that flat hand. Nice dead ball, high arc.
Owens. Rebound Johnson. Fall away. Still loose in there. Manning gets it. Oh, tipped up by Owens. Now Thompson, and it goes in.
Well, Syracuse isn't being out-hustled. With Coleman sitting down, the Orange have taken over the board.
Foul call. It's on Richard Manning trying to front count Foster. Foster will go to the line. Syracuse over the limit.
I don't think Boeheim's trying to fly.
This is third personal foul. 3 on Manning. 1-1 on the line.
So Cal Foster goes to the line. Manning charged with his third personal. Foster with 10 points and 7 rebounds. Been a factor, the senior from Dayton, Ohio. Went to Vincennes Junior College. Left the team last year, late in the second semester, but as Rick Barnes did with so many others, convinced them to play for him and convinced them they would win if he did. And they did win. Syracuse 56, Providence 54, 7:57 to go. Syracuse by a deuce, doing it with Derek Coleman on the bench with 4 fouls and working on the offensive glass.
I can't think of a better sequence to explain what's going on out there. Just bodies and elbows and fingernails. Manning takes a crack at it. The Orange keep it alive 3 times. Finally, Stevie Thompson comes in and gets the play off the rim. And that's just the way it's been going. Nothing pretty. Everything takes 2 or 3 times till you get it right. And we're down inside 8 minutes. A 2-point game. A bona fide nail-biter.
And Billy Owens goes glass for 2. And the Orange back up by 4.
Never know this was his first Big East tournament game.
11 for Billy Owens.
Owens has really grown without Coleman in there. He's taken over the offense.
Foster outside the screen. Here's Conlon. Shovels the pass to Foster. Rebound Manning. Here's Douglas. Looking up court. David Johnson.
Foster's shot is so flat in there. It's amazing he doesn't get more of them rejected.
Owens fires. He hits it. 2-point bucket by Billy Owens. 2-point bucket.
And a child shall lead them. When they're on the ropes with the marquee player in the front court on the bench in serious foul trouble, it has been the freshman, Billy Owens, that's trying to take the Orange out of the wilderness.
And there's 3 freshmen on the floor right now for Syracuse. Johnson, Manning, Owens. And the Orangemen have opened up a 6-point lead. from Morgan City, Louisiana, 11 points and 4 rebounds.
Boeheim with 6 minutes and 30 seconds to go is trying to figure, should I platoon Coleman and Owens at this point, or should I ride Owens out, who definitely has the hot hand? And he's walking up and down and he's pondering. That's what he's getting the big bucks for. My own experience would say, as hot as Owens is, ride him out right now. Don't sit him down, even though he just got the 4th one.
Conlon with 9 points and 7 rebounds, 5 for 5 from the free throw line.
Boy, it's a good stroke. He takes it over to the side, but he still keeps that elbow straight.
Syracuse 5-4, 6:30 to play. Foul at Carlton's screen. He grabs Sherman Douglas. Providence still has one more foul to give. That is their 6th team foul. Syracuse with 4 timeouts remaining. Providence with 3 timeouts remaining. 6:24 on the clock.
Sherman Douglas, a 58% free throw shooter. You can bet if this spread stays as a deficit for Providence, he's going to have to shoot some free throws.
There's the alley-oop, run to perfection. Douglas to Owens, and it's a 6-point lead again for Syracuse.
Sherman Douglas, Captain Oops. He throws it better than anybody.
Look out, David Johnson. Oh, give him a 9.8.
There's that explosion the Orange have been looking for all day. Boeheim breathing a little bit easier.
Technical on Rick Barnes. Barnes is irate. Jim Byrne nailed him with a tee. And that not only means 2 shots, but the ball now goes back to Syracuse. And that is big.
You know that was not a ploy. When you lose possession, that was not a ploy. And it'll be 2.
Douglas will shoot the technicals. And Buck, keep in mind, even though I know you're saying he's 58%, he's over 75 for his career. This year's been an aberration.
When they count as March. 2 good-looking strokes.
Barnes complained that a foul should have been called on this play. That strip was a reach and a foul.
It was right in front of him, then he lost it.
So Syracuse keeps the ball off the 2 shots. They now lead by 10, and with 5:50 to play, Syracuse a chance to extend the lead even more.
And the Orange are going to open up the floor. Coleman still on the bench.
Douglas against screen. And suddenly Sherman has taken the game into his own hands. The reach and foul is called on screen. And Douglas will now shoot 1-and-1 because Providence is over the limit.
Carlton Screen claiming that Douglas was using a bit of a straight arm to make the initial breakdown of the defense off the dribble. Nonetheless, it'll be Douglas that goes to the line.
Syracuse has beaten Providence 20 consecutive times, 19 in a row in the Big East and in the NCAA National Semifinals in New Orleans. Will the streak continue? Douglas hits on the first. Sherman with 15 points and 6 assists.
Until that last little flurry, Syracuse not able to get many transition baskets. It's been a half-court game. And Murdoch checked the shooter all right. They took Sherman Douglas right out of there.
Barnes still unhappy. It is now a 12-point game.
He better worry about his team.
Palazzi, Conlon, floater, rejected by David Johnson, but it's goaltending. I mean, he was a foot above the rim.
And on that auspicious note, Derek Coleman comes back in. No, it's Owens back into the game.
Wow, what a block. This guy was a slam dunk champion in the Derby Classic at Kentucky last year. He gets up.
6'5". The worst statistic in basketball. Measure a guy from the top of his head to the floor. I don't know what his vertical leap is, but it's astronomical.
Foul is called. It's on Palazzi. And the Orange men will shoot 1-and-1. Now Providence with 5:08 to play. Going to play a little bit of the game. Syracuse a poor shooting team, to say the least. 61% as a club. And they're going to find this wherever they go in the NCAA tournament, that if it gets close late down the game, teams are going to play the foul. Let's see if you can beat us from the line.
So many times with the Orangemen, great offensive power and fast-breaking ability. They've got a pad rolling into this point in the game.
Johnson misses the front end of the 1-and-1.
I wouldn't call 5 minutes and 10 points much of a pad.
Good defensive play by Manning. And now Providence has decided they're going to foul. It's a quick foul on Marty Conlon.
Barnes wants another foul for Manning reaching over.
4 fouls on Conlon.
As bad as he thinks the officiating might be, he's got to be awfully careful he doesn't take his team out. It cost him a percentage and 2 points the last time he vented. 34 years old, his first Big East tournament, and it hasn't been a good run for him.
What a game for David Johnson. Season high 14. 4 rebounds. And when Coleman went out, he just picked up the slack. (70-58) Syracuse. Under 5 minutes to play. Screen hands to Murdoch. Screen looking inside. Murdoch for 3. Foul called away from the ball, no basket, and it's against Conlon, and that is number 5. He pushed Manning out of the way.
It's been a war down inside. Conlon and Manning. Providence needs to get that ball down. They don't really need to go crazy for that 3-point shot yet. If they can get the ball down into Conlon, inevitably he's been getting fouled and going to the line, and that stops the clock as well as getting points because he's a good free throw shooter. There's the foul. Conlon, who was right under the basket, which is too close on a 3-point shot. Percentage says that that ball's going to bound a lot further out, but he staked out his claim right under the rim and got called for the foul.
So Conlon at 12 points. 4:40 left. Syracuse 70, Providence 58. And it was one explosion by the Orangemen, leading 56-54. And then going on a tear, 14-4 in the last 3 minutes.
Replaced by number 25, Abdul Shamsuddin.
Abdul Shamsuddin replaces Marty Conlon in that PC lineup.
1-on-1.
Manning missing the front end of the 1-on-1, and Herman Hareed gets called for pushing off on the rebound.
4:40 to go, 12 points, Bruce. It's a long, long time.
Owens coming back in, so is Rowe. Coleman stays on the bench.
Matt Rowe, number 3, in for Syracuse.
Well, Jim Boeheim figures they managed to forge that lead without him. I'm going to keep him right here. If we get by today, we've got 2 more to go. And he does have that injured lower back coming out of the Georgetown game last weekend.
Foster misses the front end of the 1-on-1. So we have 4:40 to play. Syracuse by 12. Both teams over the limit. Syracuse 4 timeouts remaining. Providence 3.
The Orange opening up the floor now.
Douglas penetrates, loses the ball to Murdoch. 5-on-1 break. And the pass is thrown away, then saved by Murdoch and laid in by Cal Foster. Talk about a team hustling. 5-on-1.
And they were very fortunate to get the bucket. Very careless with the ball at the end with the Friars, but just good bodies, good effort. Here we go again. 2-on-1, 3-on-1.
Screen is hacked by Rowe. And the Friars showing their tenacity.
Since the Orange have gone to that spread offense, they've stopped looking at the basket. They're going parallel, east and west. They need to be looking north and south right now without looking at the basket. The Friars feel like they have a license to steal without being burned, and they've done it.
Coleman is back at the 3:59 mark.
You forget how awesome Syracuse is when Owens and Coleman are in the game at the same time. They haven't been there for a while, but as you look out there and they're both in an inside spot, you realize that Syracuse has been limping along with serious foul problems with those two and have managed to forge a 9-point lead. But it's starting to dissolve a bit. It's now 8.
Screen connecting on both free throws. 3:59 to play. Here's that full court pressure by Providence, and Syracuse has to use a timeout. So the press got to the orange men a little bit. And this game is far from over. It's an 8-point game. Less than 4 minutes to play. Today at the Omni in Atlanta, North Carolina defeating Georgia Tech 77-62. So the host school goes down. Oklahoma struggling with Colorado in the Big 8.
And that's without Mookie Blaylock, who was being suspended for 1 game for a difference of opinion at a convenience store very early in the morning, and he was very loud doing it. So they're sitting him down for 1 game. Oklahoma has to escape the first round to get him back.
Right here, Providence struggling to get back in the game, trailing by 8. Foul call, Carlton screen, and Matt Rowe will shoot 1 and 1. Well, just 2 years ago, Providence College, a Cinderella run. They made it to the NCAA Final Four under that man in the middle, Rick Pitino. Now the head coach of the New York Knicks, who calls this court his home.
No pressure now.
Oh, no, not at all.
Marvelous run this year for the Knicks.
Rowe hits the first. 68% free throw shooter. He's got a better stroke than that, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's almost as good from 3 points as he is from 15.
Syracuse 15 for 25 to the line. Palazzi with the rebound.
Rest assured, the Orange are going to have to keep hitting free throws this last 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Murdoch penetrates. Fires. Foul call. Murdoch will get 2. You know, Carlton Screen has only 2 points today. In the last 5 times he scored in single digits, TC is 1 and 4. So TC not getting much from him.
Providence has their chance. I mean, they're within striking distance. They haven't played well.
They can shoot the 3.
They don't really need to go to a lot of bombs right now. I think they need to stop the clock and get to the line, put pressure on Syracuse. Have to remember now, Owens and Coleman both have 4.
Carlesimo, head coach of Seton Hall, watching on. He will take on the winner of this game tomorrow.
More the survivor. Both of these teams have struggled all afternoon.
Quinn Burton is in for PC, replacing Cal Foster.
Going back to that point with Owens and Coleman with 4 fouls each, I would go down inside, try to draw some fouls. Either they're not going to play you tough because of their foul trouble, or they're going to foul you, stop the clock, and send you to the line.
3:20 to go. Owens loses the ball to Murdoch. Murdoch penetrates, lays it in. 71-66, Providence down 5. Coleman in trouble, and he almost lost his head. Foul is called against PC, and Coleman will go to the line for 1 and 1.
When Owens was stripped out here, I really believe Providence was trying to get the foul. It wasn't called, and finally the ball was jarred loose. And Boeheim was saying, the foul out there. I do agree with him. That was right in front of us. Let's watch now. He's trying to reach and grab. And a little backhand by Owens there.
Coleman back to the live action, misses the front end to the 1 and 1. 3 minutes to go. Providence down 5. Murdoch dishes to Foster, rejected foul call. It's on Coleman. It's number 5. He's gone.
Remember, in this tournament now, in the 10 years, only 3 times has the top-seeded team been able to survive. Syracuse, predicted to finish first, has finished 3rd, but there's no question about which is the more powerful club in this game. And right now, they're fighting for their lives.
So Coleman is gone. 13 points, 14 rebounds, 3 blocks. Not a factor in the second half when Syracuse opened up their biggest lead. And now Jim Boeheim, I know, would like to have him, but he won't for the remaining 3 as Providence scratches back.
I'm sure Rick Barnes is thinking about that technical and what it may have cost his team. They'd dearly love to get even. Just get even right now. Syracuse is going to have to keep shooting free throws. Rest assured of that.
Providence's last win of the Big East tournament, 1987 quarterfinals over St. John's, 80-51. Syracuse's last win last year, they won the championship over Villanova, 85-68. Foster for 2. What a game for Foster, 17 points and 7 rebounds.
As you pointed out, a product of Vincennes Junior College, and Vincennes also produced Bob McAdoo.
2:50 to go, Syracuse by 4.
Syracuse has given up on their spread offense. They're going back to their regular offense, and they're looking at the basket again.
Owens out to Douglas. Shot clock down to 20. Game clock 2:30.
There's your basic 2 guard.
Owens whistle before. Foul call, I believe it's Cal Foster. 1-1 for the Orange. Tonight the action continues in quarterfinal play. Georgetown, #1 against Boston College, the winner of last night's 8-9 game. And a game that could be the game of the tournament in the opening round. Villanova and Pittsburgh in the 4-5 game. 1 point decided the first meeting. 1 point decided the second meeting between those two teams. Owens 1-1.
Has he delivered or what?
He has 14 points, 8 rebounds, and I really think he's added composure as a freshman.
You're absolutely right. He wants the ball. Coleman, without Coleman in the first half, I don't think there's any question but that Syracuse would have not only been behind, way behind, with 3 for 10 free throw shooting. And Owens in the second half, which is what good clubs do to you. They have that balance.
5-point game. 2:15 to play. Shamsuddin backing it on Manning. Got it.
What a tough shot that was. Manning really played him tough.
Providence on a 15-4 run. Douglas knocked away Murdoch. No call. Out of bounds. Last touch by Providence. Wow.
Jim Boeheim's laughing, but it ain't funny. Watch this move now. 2 black jerseys come in. You know, ironically, you don't see the contact. Despite the way he fell from the angle of our cameras, you really didn't see the contact.
Burton replaces Palazzi for the Friars. Oh, to Douglas. Under 2 minutes to play. Syracuse 72-69.
Really interesting how Boeheim came out of that spread offense. No, they're going back to it. They're going back to it. The last time they did, they stopped looking for the basket. Providence ran off a couple of steals. They're going to have to start fouling.
A minute 35 to go, 23 on the shot clock. Shot clock now down to 18. David Johnson penetrates. Shot clock down to 12. Shot clock at 8. Douglas penetrates. In and out. Tipped in by Owens.
Oh, that ball was awfully close to being in the cylinder. Terrific offensive rebounding by Syracuse.
5-point game. Screen. And a whistle. And a foul is called as Screen dished the ball off. And it'll be 1-1. And the foul is on Sherman Douglas.
Was it basket interference? The general leaves it up there soft, which is what he's supposed to do. Owens gets a crack. It doesn't go. He comes back with a second one. What do you think, Bruce?
Thought the ball was on the rim.
Okay.
Which means offensive interference.
Yep.
Screen hits the first.
I read it. No basket. Going the other way. Just made it a little tougher for Providence. They still have time.
Screen 3 for 3 from the line. 74-71, 64 seconds. Providence, and a foul is called on the Friars, much to the dismay and frustration of Murdoch and his teammates. Almost got a steal, a quick, clean steal. That's what you look for first.
Well, that kind of histrionics, though, can cost you another technical foul. And looking up at that scoreboard and the possession in the 2 free throws that the last tech cost him.
Stephen Thompson, number 32.
Stephen Thompson back in, replacing Matt Rowe for the Orangemen as Boeheim begins offense-defense substituting.
Well, this is the guy you want on the line normally. Your senior, your captain. And it's freeze the shooter time.
Yes, it is. Waters at the Garden, quarterfinals of the Big East Championship. Glad you could be with us. Douglas at the line with 1:03 to play. Misses the front end of the 1-and-1. Providence down 3. Screen. Penetrates. Outside Palazzi. Got it! 1-point game. A 2-point basket by Palazzi. Douglas. And a whistle. And what's the call?
They got the timeout. Providence wasn't aware of the timeout. Came in for the tie-up. Was a good play. Oh my! 44 seconds. Cuse with a 1-point lead and the ball, but the momentum. Old Mo is wearing a black jersey. What a comeback for the Friars. I think Syracuse has to look deep. You know that Providence press that it has used all year. This is not a desperation press that Providence uses. It's normally part of their defensive scheme. They have backed off from using it because they didn't want to force Syracuse into doing what they do well, which is attack and run. But now Syracuse is thinking clock. They're not really thinking attack, and I think that's the critical mentality on this inbounds play. If they're thinking just get the ball in and keep it and don't attack the press, I think they're very vulnerable for the steal. And if they make 1 or 2 passes, you know that Providence is going to send them to the line, and that's how they got back in the game.
Scored a field goal. Talk about a turnaround. 17-8 Providence since the tee. Here we go. 43 seconds to play. Owens. He's got 4 seconds to get it across. And a foul is called on Cal Foster. Wow, 1 second away from what could have been a backcourt violation.
But how significant is it that the freshman is in the backcourt at the crucial opportunity handling the ball when you've got a player on the court like Sherman Douglas? That tells you a lot about who the coaches have confidence in under pressure.
Foster fouls out, 17 points, 7 rebounds. Bucky, you know, when you're up by 10 or 12 and you're a team such as Syracuse that is not a good free throw shooting team, it really can hurt you to go into a spread offense, can it?
Well, it puts pressure on the free throws because that's the only way you're going to go to the line. Use a timeout rather than get into a jump ball situation.
Billy Owens, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 64% free throw shooter. But throw the stats out. This is crunch time. Owens hits the first. 2-point lead, Orangemen. 36 seconds to play. Winner of this game meets Seton Hall tomorrow in the semis of the Big East Tournament. Owens calmly buries them both. 76-73, Syracuse. Coming up on 30 seconds of the ball game. Palazzi for 3. Manning tries to save it out of bounds. It's against Syracuse, and PC will get the basketball.
Look for Palazzi to get another shot. He really didn't get square on that one. It was a good effort by Syracuse. They saved the ball in, but the Syracuse player was right on the line.
Timeout, Providence. They still have 1 left. Syracuse with 2 left. 24 to Johnson Dean and Darrell Wright, a capable 3-point shooter, on the floor for Providence. We have 24 seconds to play.
Palazzi on the weak side. Owens is eyeing him. He wants to make sure he's within 2 steps of getting the hand up.
Timeout, Providence. I don't know if they wanted to spend that one. That's their last.
No, you can tell by Rick Barnes he did not want to waste that one.
Said a guy was open. That's what Rick just told his player.
Live with an overtime here, but they don't want to foul.
Darrell Wright to Shamsuddin. And a whistle and a foul is called against Douglas. 1-1. 22 seconds to play.
The one cardinal sin, and Boeheim is saying, what in the world are we thinking about? And it was a senior. Unbelievable. I'm not a great lip reader, but it was unbelievable.
Matt Rowe checks in, replacing Stevie Thompson for Syracuse. And Abdul Shamsuddin goes to the free throw line, 73% free throw shooter, junior from Staten Island, New York. 6 points in the game. Rebound Palazzi, and a held ball, and the arrow points to Syracuse.
What a great effort by Palazzi to come from that third spot. Boeheim now wants Syracuse to spread out. But I think Syracuse has to look up the floor. All the problems are close to the baseline.
Quentin Burton replaces Shamsuddin for Providence.
A defensive substitution. A lot of quickness on the floor. Not much size now for Providence.
No timeouts left for the Friars.
The Friars had their chance with that foul.
Owens will trigger to Manning. Back to Owens. David Johnson goes up. Yes, and a foul. Foul is on Palazzi, his fourth. Johnson will go to the line, chance for a three-point play.
The key here is that Syracuse looks up the floor, which was the problem when they were having difficulty against the press. Instead of keeping the ball in the backcourt where a steal was a layup, they got it into the front court, and with Providence gambling, as they had to do, they got the open situation, and they are going to survive the first round.
And Owens made the pass. 79-73, 12 seconds to play. Carlton screen for three. Good. Three-point game, 79-76, 5 seconds to play. But the clock will run out on the Friars. It is over. And Syracuse has survived. Syracuse 79, Providence.